This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Good evening and welcome to WAAY 31 Law Call. I'm Sharon Doviat. Tonight we're taking your calls and questions all about injuries. That's everything from car accidents to medical mistakes. This time of year, we're happy to be safely through Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. But if you had something happen over the holidays or Christmas is coming up, a lot of people traveling, a lot of things happening. If you were involved in something or a family member involved and injured, you need to know what steps to take after a wreck, or a fall, or a fire, or a medical mistake. How do you know if you've got a claim? What do you do? Is it a good thing if the insurance company offers you quick money to settle, or should you resist that? Do you need to go see a lawyer before you even figure that out? Or what if you have the opposite problem and the insurance company won't even talk to you? Well, tonight's your chance to call in and ask your questions. The 31 Law Call number, 256-536-0077. You can also email a question. You can email any legal question any day of the week. You send it to lawcall@waytv.com, and when we get to a show that's on that point, we will pull some of those out. We've got some of your email questions tonight. Getting us started tonight, we've got Heath Brooks and Bobby Marsh, both from Timberlake and League. Y'all are personal injury attorneys. That's what they do, and that's what we're talking about. Everything from car crashes to medical mistakes. Okay, we've got a video for you.
Call us if you've been injured. If you just have a question about an injury, we're here to help.
We've got some video. We like to give you make the law call. Okay, we're past the swimming pool season, but this looks like it's at a hotel, maybe a resort. And we want to talk about if you are at a facility like that and something like this happens. This is not local, but if you get smashed by another guest and you are injured, is the hotel liable, the resort liable? How do you even know who that was to track down that information? You know,
first things first is gathering information. And I can tell you what it looks like to me. There's probably signs all over the pool, or anybody knows, don't run around the pool. It's dangerous because it's wet. You can slip, you can hurt yourself, you can hurt others. You know, and so I think that in this situation, the first guy just got lucky to jump over him, and the second guy plowed right into a group of folks. And I think they could, if they were injured, they could have a potential claim against that fella just for being negligent, running around the pool, or reckless running around the pool. The other thing is that if there are some resort employees that are noticing that guests are running around the pool, they're not following the safety protocols, there's signs everywhere, and they're laughing with them, or they're just letting them do it, I think the resort could be potentially responsible too for allowing that conduct to continue. So it's fact specific, but certainly the fellow running around the pool, I think could have some responsibility there.
How do you get the evidence, though? So, like, if they weren't willing to tell you the name of that guy, right, they wouldn't reveal who the guest was. Bobby, how do you get some of this information?
Well, sometimes it's just, boots on the ground. Go and see where he was sitting. Talk to the people he was sitting with. Figure out what you can about where he's from, who he knows, things like that. Try to get that. Sometimes, it really is just running around talking to folks.
That's right. Gathering information. Evidence is like water. It evaporates. It goes away. Gather your information. Get your numbers. Get the witnesses that saw it. Those are very important things, not only with somebody falling around a pool, but also just in general. You get in an automobile wreck, you have witnesses around. Make sure you're okay. Make sure the people around you are okay. But start taking numbers down. Start getting photos of the area around you. Because that evidence somewhere down the road can really pay big dividends if you're trying to figure out who it was that damaged your car, who it was that caused your injury or the injury to someone else. I can tell you the other day, I was driving down the road and I got stopped in a wreck. We were stopped, we were waiting for a wreck to clear, and I took a quick photo because I knew that somebody may need that somewhere down the road as to say, hey, look, this wreck happened, and here are the people here on the side of the road.
Because police are not necessarily doing that, right?
No, not always. They do the best they can.
Sure.
I mean, they got a tough job. You talk to a police officer, they've handled thousands of these wrecks sometimes. They try to gather all the information they can, but while they're trying to gather information from one wreck, they're getting a call about some other issue going on down the road. So there are all sorts of things that a police officer has to do. And so relying upon them to gather all the information sometimes can be a problem. So you kind of have to be your own advocate there.
Okay, we've got callers waiting. We've got Diane on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Diane. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight? Hi, Diane. Thanks for calling in. What's your question tonight?
I wanted to ask the panel, is there ever a wise decision to make your own settlement in case I had a fall?
Okay.
And is it possible that that you can make your own decision with the settlement?
If the insurance company makes you an offer, can
Well,
she take a deal without a lawyer?
Sure you can. You can make a deal without a lawyer. It's not advisable. And a lot of times the type of work that we do, we'll talk to you you don't owe us a nickel for talking to us on the phone or coming and meeting with us, whether we take your case or not. So, one of the important things is that picking up the phone and calling an attorney and just asking some advice. Does this settlement seem reasonable? Here are my medical bills. Here are my records. What do you think? What other questions could she ask, Bobby?
The big thing is just what the extent of the injuries are. It sort of goes back to what Heath was talking about. If you weren't terribly injured, maybe it's not a bad idea. However, it's always best to talk to an attorney to make sure. But no, you could always take your own settlement, but we would highly advise you talk to an attorney before you do.
That's right.
Quick settlements. Insurance companies offering you quick settlements. Is that a sign that they're worried? They're trying to wrap it up real quick.
That's a red flashing sign to me.
Okay.
If an insurance company is offering you a quick settlement, that's one of those things that you need to get your spidey senses about. The hairs on the back of your neck should stand up, because that's a real problem where they may have looked at a video, or they may have information that you don't have that could really show some responsibility, really show a significant injury, or maybe there's some reckless conduct that could bring about some other types of damages. So if an insurance company is offering you a quick deal, then you need to quickly contact a lawyer. That's my advice to you.
Okay. We got Mike on the line with a question or comment from Huntsville. Hi, Mike. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Yeah, I want to know, me and my wife was injured in a car accident in February.
Okay.
Then we had another accident in April. And the people that hit us from behind, neither one of them had insurance.
Yeah.
And totaled both of our vehicles out. We got injured. We got an attorney, but they telling me there's no attorney in Huntsville that would take a case because the insurance company don't want to pay for neither one of our vehicles.
Okay.
And
Well,
we had full coverage, uninsured and underinsured and all of that.
Okay. Glad you're okay, by the way.
Well, Mike, yeah, so, in those kinds of scenarios, if the person who hits you and they're at fault doesn't have insurance, then you just hit the magic word. You have uninsured motorist coverage that can actually stand into the shoes of the defendant who hit you. Now, that's just for your personal injuries. For your car, if you're fully covered with collision or comprehensive coverage, then your insurance carrier should pay for the damages to your vehicle. And if your vehicle was totaled, which is what you said it was, then the fair market value of your vehicle, which is what could your vehicle be sold for on a dealer lot. But in terms of making a claim with an insurance company for uninsured motorist coverage, that's something we do on a daily basis, pretty much, isn't it, Bobby?
Absolutely, Heath. And uninsured motorist coverage is something we cannot encourage people enough to get for themselves. For the amount you pay every month, it's a couple extra dollars on your insurance bill, but golly, it could really come in handy in a situation like that.
So
Yeah,
many
that's
people
right.
out there do not have insurance. It's supposed to be a law, right? It's supposed to be a law for everybody that's driving to have insurance.
It is absolutely terrifying. I heard a statistic that 20% of drivers or more on the road at any given time do not have insurance. And what that means is that, nowadays, you go to the emergency room and you may spend $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in medical charges. And if you get hit with somebody who doesn't have insurance, even your copays, even your deductibles can start really increasing. And if there's no money well to get your money back out, you could have a real problem. And with so many people driving without insurance, you're just taking too huge a risk.
Okay. One of the things that we talked about before the show, we're talking about driving and whether what you guys do, looking at auto accidents all the time, changes anything about what you do in your own personal lives.
That's right. Yeah.
And you surprised me with what you said.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't really drive on interstates anymore. I had to go down to Atlanta, south of Atlanta, the Byron, Georgia area. I do practice some law in the Georgia area, and I had to go down a couple of days ago, or last week, and I did not drive on the interstate because One of the things that we see in my business is the worst of the worst. The worst case scenario, when the thing most unimaginable happens to someone, that's what I see. And that's what I worry about. And so driving on an interstate, a lot of people do it. I'm sure a lot of people do it safely every day, never have an issue. I've seen too many times where there is an issue, and there's no second chances if you get hit by a tractor trailer going 70 miles an hour down an interstate.
That's really interesting.
I'm careful.
You're making me think.
Yeah.
Bobby, anything you're changing?
Absolutely. For me, it's following distances. I mean, it's just making sure you leave enough space between you and the car in front of you, where if something does happen, you know, they slam on the brakes, they have an emergency pop up, you give yourself enough room to slow down so you don't slam into the back of that vehicle. That's something we see far too often.
When y'all are seeing the cases you see and the pictures you see in the results, and that's what you're changing, it makes me take note. Okay, we're going to take a break. Be right back. Calling your questions, the 31 Law Call number 536-0077. We'll be right back.
You're watching WAAY 31 Law Call, where lawyers come to help. Your rights, your calls, live. Hosted by family law attorney Sharon Dovian, with the personal injury attorneys of one of the Valley's most respected law firms, Timberlake and League. Featuring the knowledge of managing partner Michael Timberlake, with millions of dollars awarded to his clients. And the experience of attorney Will League, a strong courtroom fighter known for his commitment to winning. And the fellow partners of Timberlake and League Heath Brooks and William Meservey. This is WAAY 31 Law Call.
Welcome back to 31 Law Call. Tonight we're talking all about injuries. That's everything from car accidents to medical mistakes. We've got with us Heath Brooks and Bobby Marsh, both from Timberlake and League, and we've got callers waiting. Stanley is on the line with a question from Decatur. Hi Stanley, thanks for waiting. What's your question tonight?
So I was injured on the job.
Okay.
And as a result of the injury, they had me go to a medical clinic to evaluate the severity of the injury.
Okay.
While we were there, they did a post-accident drug test on me, and that's fine and dandy. But after the drug test results that came in, they did not provide any medical attention, any reevaluation, or any advice.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, was there any type of malpractice done by the company at that point?
So are you thinking that the drug test that came back, you probably failed it? Is that what you're thinking? And then they didn't help beyond that? Or what are you thinking?
The drug test results did come back for THC.
Okay. Okay.
And it was...
Okay.
Yeah.
And after that, you got no further help?
Okay.
Okay. How does that, we're thinking workers' comp case, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things, Stanley, you really need to contact an attorney on. In a workers' comp situation, that's a standard practice, is to be tested after you have a work-related injury to see if you test hot for any number of drugs. Of course, in today's world, where we have legal CBD, then you can test hot for THC if you don't smoke any marijuana or consume any marijuana, but you just don't consume CBD. It brings in a whole different bag of issues to deal with. But you're generally speaking, just because you tested positive for THC, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be provided the treatment under a workers' compensation plan or workers' compensation policy of insurance. Bobby, have you had to handle anything like that?
You know, it is something we see all the time, and, you know, a main thing to keep in mind is just, you know, that we are an at-will employment state.
That's right.
And so it is tricky. I mean, a company, they could fire you for any reason or no reason at all, with a few exclusions. And so, yes, it is something we definitely see. You know, in those workers' comp cases, especially with like Keith said, you know, the treatment at, I would imagine, OHG or somewhere like that, you know, the occupational health group, we definitely see that. You
know, and there's a distinction there, Stanley. One is that can you be fired because you had a positive drug test? And that answer is yes, because we are an at-will employee state. Unless you are under a contract with your employer, then you can be fired. The other question is, does that invalidate workers' compensation benefits? And that question is not necessarily the same. And that's why, there are a lot of things that an employer has to prove, or the workers' compensation company has to prove, if you do have a drug test that is positive. Were you high at the time of your injury? In other words, were the drugs that you tested positive for affecting your job such that you were injured? That's one of those things that may be questioned. So my advice to you is go ahead and contact an attorney so you can get some good advice about how to move forward on that kind of a case. It would be a workers' compensation claim under the workers' compensation statute in Alabama.
Good luck with it, Stanley.
Yep.
We've got Tiffany on the line with a question from Huntsville. Hi, Tiffany. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Hi, thank you so much for taking my
Sure,
call.
yeah.
I am a cancer patient. I worked for a very large company in the Valley in human resources.
Okay.
I had to go on disability last year because it was affecting my ability to walk. After radiation and after treatment, I'm actually doing really well.
Good.
Right.
I am very good friends with my boss that I had, and my boss told me that her boss will not let me come back because they're worried that I might take too much time off if something happens with my cancer. If things go bad, they don't want to take the risk. I want to know, is this discrimination or do they have a right to do this?
Very interesting. And Tiffany, we're so glad that you're doing better and sorry that you're going through this at all. Are you
Right.
still employed by this place, or has your employment?
No. I went on official disability, and then my employment ended because of disability.
Okay.
Are you still on disability at this time?
Yes, correct. I'm still
Okay.
on disability.
And do you have a set time when your disability will end?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you have a set time when your disability will end?
No, it's endless, I guess, because I have cancer.
Okay. All right. Well, you under the Constitution of the United States, there are certain protected classes which you cannot be discriminated against because you fall within that class. Whether you're male or female, what your religion is, whether you're disabled is one of those protected classes, as long as you can perform the functions of your job. So you can't be discriminated against just because you suffer a disability. And so there's a lot of inquiries that go into that, and that's a special niche type of work that employment lawyers do. And so that would be my advice to you, is to contact an employment lawyer so you can get some good advice about how you may be able to move forward with what's called an EEOC claim or a disability claim under the 13th Amendment. Those are things that you may be able to pursue in the event that you actually are being discriminated. It sounds like to me that you got one person telling you what somebody else is telling her, so that could be problematic, particularly trying to prove that kind of situation is going on. It's always a difficult situation in those employment law cases where you're having where you're being discriminated against because of your skin color or what your gender is. What can you use to prove that discriminatory those discriminatory tactics? So that could be a challenge, but I strongly suggest you contact an employment lawyer.
And good luck with your health care. We live in a great time and a great place for medical care for cancer treatment now. So glad to hear you're doing better.
Congratulations. Absolutely. Keep fighting it.
We've got Gladys on the line with a question from Decatur. Hi, Gladys. Thanks for calling. What's your question tonight?
Okay, my question is, I was in a car accident back in June.
Okay.
And at first they didn't take the claim, and the police wrote the accident report up as me at fault.
Okay.
Then the insurance company found out that I was not at fault, and the lady hit my car and totaled my car, and I'm still having some complications from that, and I've been seeing the doctor, and I'm starting therapy tomorrow.
Good.
So I was just wondering, and I haven't heard from her insurance company as to the at-fault results, so I'm just wondering, should I be hearing from them? What should be going on with this?
What should she be doing with this? It was in June.
Well, you know what? You got some time. We got
Okay.
a 2-year time limit in the state of Alabama within which you can either resolve your claim or file a lawsuit. So from a time perspective, you're okay. Of course, like we were talking about earlier, sometimes evidence gets gone. So the sooner the better you move forward. I have found in my practice, and I'm sure Bobby would agree, that an insurance company who is responsible for injuries or damage generally is not going to reach out to you. It sounds like to me that your own insurance company now is indicating that you are not at fault for the wreck. And sometimes they will contact the other insurance company, but you need to be proactive. If you've got a copy of the police report, what you can do is you can get the information off of the police report and you can contact the insurance company that is of the responsible person and get a claim set up. Also, you know, with there being a police report that indicates you're at fault, then you may want to contact an attorney to let them handle that type of a case for you, because you're already moving into an area where an insurance company has denied your claim. So, you know, it's going to be difficult for you to resolve on your own. But, you know, one important thing that you brought up, are police reports admissible in the state of Alabama?
They are not, surprisingly, and this is something that blows everybody's mind, you know, because everybody that comes into our office recently after a car wreck, they're very worried about what the police report says, and police reports are extremely important, but it's important to remember the officer who wrote that report was not there to watch the accident, so they're not admissible in the state of Alabama, but they are very helpful in pursuing a personal injury claim.
You know, when I try cases, we always get this from the jury. Hey, look, you know, where's the police report? We want to see the police report. And I early on in my practice, I finally got a judge just to tell the jury, hey, look, we're not going to show you the police report because we just simply, by statute, cannot do it. So it's one of those things that we see all the time. Sometimes the police do the best they can, but sometimes they get it wrong, so they're not admissible.
It's interesting. Okay, we're going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions all about injuries tonight. Stay with us. If you didn't get your questions answered tonight, here's how to get in touch with Heath Brooks and Bobby Marsh. They are personal injury attorneys with Timberlake and League. Check out law-injury.com. Also, the number 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website law-injury.com. You can also like them on Facebook and learn more about the law that way.
And Sharon practices family law. That's divorces, child custody issues. She can be reached at 256-539-7337 or check her out on the web at www.sharonfamilylaw.com.
We're expecting some cold weather, ice and things like that. Okay, what's the warning?
You know, warning is watch when you're going into a store, watch when you're walking across a parking lot. A premises owner in Alabama has a responsibility to maintain their premises in a reasonably safe condition or to warn you of hazards they knew about, should have known about, or created. So if there's ice on the ground and they didn't clean it up, they may be responsible. But if you should have known that the hazard was there, you could be responsible and give those folks a get out of jail free card. Be careful when there's ice on the ground.
Thanks for all your calls and questions. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you. Have a great night.